up YouTube? Today I wanted to go over pretty much why these mobs are so insanely tanky in Tropical Island. I think these mobs are tankier than 100% Delirium mobs, and it's actually quite interesting and kind of like encouraging because it kind of forces you to have the DPS you need in order to be able to clear these maps, because the faster you can clear these maps, the more money you can get, the more splinters you can get. So it's actually kind of enjoyable to be able to upgrade your gear. Well, usually before, like, there's really no point ever having like 20-30 mil DPS. Like if you have 10 mil DPS, everything will just die. Before there was like multi-boxing the feared, but now with the addition of turn Zen and being able to put Delirium Mirror on every single map, you run into the scenario where the DPS is just not enough, and in some cases, and I've seen people with like 10 million DPS with Spectral Shield Throw, and it's still pretty similar results. The mobs are just insanely tanky, so maybe getting to like the 30, 40, 50 million mark will not really be that unneeded. So you can see here, I'm pretty much struggling. I do like to say that my gear is really not that good, so I don't really know like how 10 mil spark will look like, but I think my tooltip is only 1.8 mil on PoE Ninja, and I wanted to pretty much go over my build and gear and then talk about what upgrade path I'm personally gonna myself take, because I know a lot of people are probably still stuck on Malagaros or have like some of their starter or stacker gear, and they're not really sure how to actually transition. So I just wanted to give a quick upgrade path, because I do think the upgrade path is a little different nowadays. Before, I always recommended doing gloves, helm, and then finally boots, but I think the boots are actually pretty important nowadays with how much they've actually nerfed movement speed. I think being able to get the onslaught additional movement speed along with the tailwind should help the the mobility nerf out a lot, because a lot of the mobility honestly feels really bad now. My character feels really slow. Part of the reason is I'm no longer using Alchemist Quicksilver of Adrenaline, and that Adrenaline is no longer 30%. So that's quite unfortunate, right? My character literally feels like a snail crawling across the map. But we do have Leap Slam, and Leap Slam, I do think if we scale attack speed, is actually a pretty good movement skill. It's not the best for bossing, but what can you do about it, right? So, and then I think later on I'm going to showcase a Spark Cyrus kill. A lot of people ask me, how do you actually do bosses? And Spark is really, really bad for Cyrus, and I really want to brain that in or pound that into your head. Cyrus is bad. So if you want to do Cyrus, you have to do the mechanics of the fight. So I'm going to showcase a little video of it. I think I actually failed, and you can see why Leap Slam is not the best skill. A lot of these bossing videos you will see, or bossing footage, you will see that Leap Slam gets me killed 9 out of 10 times. So pretty much every night when I'm making these videos, I'm pretty much doing these trades at the same time. It's always interesting to see like what cluster jewels that people want to buy, and it turns out that totem cluster jewels are big money. I don't really know why. Well, I do know why. Everyone's trying to play the new hip skill Forbidden Right totem, so that's why it's worth so much money, 72 chaos. So I'm going to go over my gear real fast and talk about the upgrades. I know I did it in the previous few videos, but yeah. I did just pick up this from a stream viewer. I paid 24 exalts for this ring, Call of the Brotherhood Wrath ring with attack speed. Attack speed is quite nice, right? Because we use Leap Slam, so having this ring on makes it so our attack time is 0.57. Without it on, it's 0.59. So it helps out a little bit. It's not the biggest thing ever, but it's just a little added bonus. Now, people ask what's actually the best aura implicit, and it's not Wrath, and it's not Zealotry, as those have very good alternate qualities. You want to have Hatred, but I couldn't get the Hatred one. Ideally, you probably would have Hatred on the other ring sooner or later. So this was my first big purchase, and why did I make this purchase, right? So when you try to upgrade an aura stacker, it's like a domino effect. You upgrade one piece, the other piece is fucked. So like if you upgrade your helm, you don't have freeze immunity anymore. And how are you going to get freeze immunity? You have to get either a Watcher's Eye, or you have to get it on the boots with a rare craft. So it's not like just one item can be changed. Like I want to upgrade the boots because I feel like the movement speed feels really bad with the nerf to Quicksilver Flask and no Smoke Mine. But if I want to upgrade my boots, I lose my Purity of Lightning skill, and then I also lose a bunch of ES, which is actually a huge problem. So you can see that this is just a huge dilemma. I do want to try out to use Voidwalker. I do think that, oh my goodness, never mind. Never mind. I will not be using Voidwalker. Take off this. I take off this. These boots. I have 3.3k ES. Oh, something needs to be done. I don't really know. I will not be using Voidwalkers unless Voidwalkers have some ES. That is too low. It is too low. But that is one option, right? But eventually, I will probably try out Voidwalkers regardless. Headhunter, I talked about how I exchange this for a crit chance during any flask effect. Astanafs, I'm kind of on the fence about using Astanafs soon. I kind of want to try out using Hands of the High Templar, purely just because of the damage bonus you get from Empower Smite. But Empower is insanely expensive right now, so I still think Astanafs is super good for clear. I do believe that having only 2 Pierce right now is drastically hurting the clear, which is why I'm so keen to try out what's it called, the other pair of boots with Voidwalkers. So maybe it has some ES, and you can also get a enchant on it that gives you some attack and cast speed or pen or something. Because right now these boots are unenchanted, but I'm also too lazy to run them through lab. So the chest piece is +2 shabs will happen sooner or later, but that's further down the line. However, +2 shabs is a pretty good damage upgrade. It's around like 15% or 20, I think, and it's usually only costs like 20-30x, so it's relatively inexpensive. But you can see there's a lot of different things to upgrade. Another 10% damage upgrade is Nebulous if you get the double damage scepter. So then we have the helm. So once we get rid of the boots, that means we have an extra, we can make rare boots, right? And once we make rare boots, we can craft Cannot Be Frozen. That means we can make a rare helm. So that's going to be the progression. I'm going to make the rare boots. Then I'm going to make the rare helm. And then while I'm doing this, I will try to get some more cluster jewels, 35%, that have some flat ES to fix my energy shield. The easiest way to fix the energy shield, a lot of people ask, is to get 35% effect and flat ES, and then you all chaos to get chaos res. So each one of these jewels should run around like 8x or so, or 6, 7x. I don't really know. Depends on the price, depends on the day, depends on the person, right? So I'm also going to use Tempering Catalyst on this thing, as I really need to get some of my energy shield fixed. I could also try to get, do I have 21 discipline? I think I do, right? I have 21 discipline here. So technically, if I ever got +2 Astanafs, I can move the discipline into Astanafs. Prism Guardian, another cheap upgrade, could be getting Grace Prism Guardian for 10x. That would save another jewel socket. I was considering getting a Grace Prism Guardian before the ring, but I feel like that Fall Grace is extremely strong in the, what's it called, the Delirium content, and does save me a lot of times, so I decided not to do that. But I will probably have to do that to get a gem slot, or I could try to craft an amulet. But I do think crafting an amulet is a little dangerous because losing all that multi really hurts. And right now the damage is atrocious in my opinion, and it needs a lot of all the help we can get. So my rationale behind dropping these boots for Voidwalkers is I no longer need the 2 Pierce from Anomalous Spark. I can sell this gem, which is 2020. Anomalous Spark is like 2x, which is good money. Use a 21-23 Vol Spark, get an extra like 23% projectile speed, which should help out the clear immensely. So that's what I'm going to be doing in order to upgrade the character. And in terms of large cluster jewels, I want to get a Vengeful Commander and Blast Freeze. And that's pretty much just because I think Blast Freeze is extremely strong. What Blast Freeze does is it spreads the freeze prolift so that the mobs will all be frozen. Because I do notice myself dying a little much more than I like. So I might get rid of Storm Rider. Storm Rider is okay, but it's not like the best and most consistent. I do think maybe with higher damage, you could get power charges on bosses. I do see myself sometimes getting power charges on Awakener, so that's a bonus. Now I want to talk about the tankiest mobs in the world that I've ever faced in PoE, pretty much. Maybe T19 100% Delirium is tankier, but I just want to go over Delirium and why the mobs are so tanky, because a lot of people don't really know what Delirium is. A lot of people just say, oh, Delirium just has some fog, I can't really see anything, it randomly ends, did I press something? But yeah, so Delirium has a 4% chance to spawn in maps, so in each league mechanic increases the chance of a Delirium encounter. So if you stack a lot, supposedly you could get a lot. So basically, once a player passes through a fog, you walk through it, it spawns the whole Delirium encounter. And during the Delirium encounter, the main thing is as you kill enemies inside the mist, the reward bar will start filling up, so you get more and more rewards. And when the bar reaches level 3, a second reward bar will appear. So the better you do, the more enemies you kill, the more rewards you'll get from the Delirium. Now, the important thing here is new enemies and hazards can spawn within the mist, and existing enemies can receive a Delirium modifier, making them stronger or giving them new attacks. So making them stronger means that they'll get more and more HP. So all enemies in the mist are delirious, giving them increased damage mitigation and damage. The further out you are in the mist, the stronger the effect. So what this means is that since we're doing Tropical Island, and Tropical Island is a very linear map, that means this node right here, Delirium Fog and areas dissipate 25% slower. And that means that the fog moves, the beginning of the fog like moves slower by 25%. So like the fog is longer and greater of length. And then this thing means that delirium in areas increases 50% faster. So that means the fog spreads 50% faster than normal. So those two things combined together makes it extremely hard at the end. But the deeper you are in the fog, the more splinters you get, right? So it's actually this catch 22, or is it really a catch 22? It's this thing where it's harder, but you also get more rewarded, right? So it's a good thing. But this is why Turns End Tropical Island on the Delirium Mirror is probably the most tanky mobs I've ever faced. And this wasn't a thing that was really around back in the day when people were doing Heist Tropical Islands, because Heist Tropical Islands did not have this Atlas passive tree. And I don't know if anyone really tested out Turns End stuff with Delirium Mirror that much, but this stuff is actually crazy tanky because of how deep the fog is and how fast the fog spreads out while not dissipating. So that means that when you reach the end of the tropical island, you can see here, like I'm just like major struggling, right? 193 splinters here, by the way, of course. So let's see here. So these mobs are extremely tanky that I face, but a lot of it's also like if you're able to stand still and have some Headhunter buffs, it's not too bad. But I constantly have to put down the TP because I'm afraid that I'll die, right? So, but that's basically the general gist of why the mobs are so strong, is because the Turns End Atlas passive region makes it scale insanely. So a lot of people also ask, how come I do all these league mechanics? So the way it works is that there's league mechanics that'll pause the mist timer, and one of the mist timers, so people ask about Expedition. Expedition pauses the mist timer when you put down one of the charges, and then it also pauses during a Immortal Syndicate research encounter, during an incursion encounter. So that's why we put Alva on the map, during a Legion Timeless Monolith encounter when it's in stasis, and that's why we put Legion, during a breach encounter, and that's why we put a breach scarab, and when we're within range of a blight portal. So that's why we start the blight, we have to be next to the portal when the encounter is going on for to pause the fog. And when you're inside of the harvest, it also pauses it, and so does the ritual altar. So there's certain things that will extend the mist timer. So if you open a strongbox, if you defeat a monster with an essence, if you capture a red beast, you defeat a mortal syndicate, an abyss crack starts moving to the next direction, completing a blight encounter, defeating a metamorph, defeating a harbinger, opening a Piranha's chest. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about my strategy for this thing. So I'm currently, I don't know if you can see. So basically I run the metamorph, right? I'm running a metamorph scarab. So the scarabs I'm using for this. So you can pretty much farm a full simulacrum every like 2 maps, or probably you can get maybe even 2 in 2 maps if you have the perfect run. So the scarabs I end up using are Legion, Blight, Metamorph, and Elder. Now, you could also make it really cheap if you just use Metamorph and you don't use Blight, because Blight is kind of expensive, but Blight has a very high ceiling if the Blight is at the end, because it spawns so many mobs and it's actually just absurd. So if you wanted to go like super cheap, you could probably do like Legion, Metamorph, Elder, and like Rusted Breach. Like obviously it'll be a lot worse, but your investment in scarabs will be like what, 8 chaos, and then you put 16 chaos on a map device, and you can easily expect to get 150 splinters back. So with like minimum investment like 20 chaos, you get like half an exalt, or like 0.6 exalts, which is like not too bad. And then you also get all of the miscellaneous currency. Like it's not like you just put the scarab in and you don't get anything out of it. Blight, you can also get some blight maps. So I got like a blight map today. It's actually crazy. This region is not very good for blight maps. You get so much more blight maps in Lyra Arthane. That also brings me to the next point, in that Lyra Arthane is still extremely good, and it might even be better than Turn Zen. It probably is better than Turn Zen, but this is the most tanky mobs you can face in PoE, I think, and it makes it kind of fun because it actually pushes the limit to your character and kind of gives you an incentive to upgrade it more. And I do think Turn's End will probably be better than Lyra Arthane once your gear is good enough so you can clear the whole map super fast. And then it brings us to the next thing, is how can you sustain alpha missions. I'll probably make a separate video about this. But basically, we're using this. You get area gets a 10% chance to grant an alpha mission on completion. And then you get this thing, master mission. So you stack these watchstones, 4 of them seekers, and then you get this one in the middle to get increased effect of watchstone modifiers. And then you also get close allies, so you get additional 10% chance to grant an atlas mission on completion. And pretty much all these things stacked together is your best chance. So you just have Lexajoris maps that you drop, and then you just rush the boss. And yeah, that's pretty much the best you can do. You can kind of sustain Tropical Island. I just take out all of the watchstones, so it's 0 watchstones, except in Lexajoris and Turn Zen. And that's probably the best you can do. And make sure you triple favorite it. I haven't triple favorited it yet because I still need to unlock the awakening. So in order to triple favor a map, you have to do all the bonus objectives, do all the awakening objectives. So it takes quite a while. But that's basically the general gist of the Turn Zen and why the mobs are so strong. And I hope that helped you learn a little bit more about Delirium, as I actually didn't know some of the mechanics about what actually paused the fog and what extends the fog. But now I'm gonna pretty much showcase a little bit of Papega Spark bossing action in Cyrus. I think I actually died in these videos, but just to give you a good look about how daunting it might be to kill Cyrus with Spark.
I'm just enough to make you smile, and you need me to hold you close, and all your fears that you dream of will disappear and flutter on. Whoa, hold on just a little. We'll meet right here in the middle ground is where we'll stand. Just look on, and I'll look down, and all your fears around the ground. Then you
Anyhow, I hope everyone had a good laugh about the video and how bad Leap Slam is. Like, Leap Slam is not bad in, like, it's very good for traversing the map. Like, right, you cannot possibly go across the map any faster. I actually Shield Charge will be faster, but Leap Slam is very consistent. And you just Leap Slam around. When you have some Headhunter buffs, you're literally a bunny rabbit jumping around like crazy. But for bossing, it takes some getting used to. It's a little delayed. It's not flame dash, but it's definitely you can do all the fights with it, right? But you can expect to die a few times, maybe to mobility issues. It's kind of sad. I do wish that smoke mine is back or flame dash didn't have such an absurd cooldown, but it is what it is. I do think next league they will revert a lot of the mobility nerfs. Maybe. Nah, who am I kidding? They're gonna nerf us more. I'm pretty sure. But if you enjoy the content, be sure to like and subscribe. I will probably make a video next time about more entry level farming tactics, as these tactics are pretty out there, right? Like most people's builds cannot do turn zen. I think it's just like a novelty that I'm showing you this. It's pretty hard to actually do this. You probably need like 20-30 mil DPS. But Haywork Hamlet essences are always good, and Harvest. And that's just a preview of what's to come. But thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you find more mirrors and exalts than I do, and see you next time. Bye.